This is the PanMen gate. They say it's the only land and water gate left in China. To understand the concept of what's going on, you're looking at a gate in the southwest corner of Suzhou around the ancient city walls, which you can actually walk along for a couple hundred meters this way. And I think it may be the last portion of actually preserved city walls in the city. Suzhou is laid out like a typical ancient capital. It was the capital of the Wu Kingdom, which is like going back to the Warring States period in I think like 600 BC. And that's the inner gate, and this cutoff point here is the outer gate. So I actually mention it here, the inner and outer gate dimensions, if you're curious. And they had a sort of like a drawbridge, but really just a kind of like a floodgate that they could drop down between both gates. So if you were coming by land, your horse or wagon would have to pass through here, and if you managed to breach the outer gate, then you'd get rained down upon from four sides. These are Qing era cannons they've set up, I think mostly for demonstration purposes, but there would have been no ammunition by chemical means going back that far to the days of the Wu. Let's see. Yeah, this is probably making a slightly better view from over by the cannon. Yeah. So now you can see the water gate. This is a piece of the Grand Canal, essentially. Gets a little confusing. The Grand Canal has branches, but it's marked off as Grand Canal on the map. And there's a bridge going over the larger portion of the river, which I also saw labeled as the Weicheng River. So I don't know if it's really... The Grand Canal is not navigable from Hangzhou to Beijing anymore. It's like 1,150 miles about of waterway, and I think you can go from Hangzhou to Suzhou on it, I've read, still. But there are branches of it, and I don't know. On the map it actually looks like it kind of... The Grand Canal actually makes a turn around this southwest corner of Suzhou. So Suzhou is actually placed on a southwest turn of the north west turn, or I guess it would be a south, yeah, the southwest corner of... I have a map in my pocket I wanted to take a look at to make sense of it. See, it says Ancient Grand Canal, Ancient Grand Canal, but then if I look it up on Google Maps, it also says it's a river. What bridge is this, by the way? 20, let's see, Wumen Bridge. That's Wumen Bridge. 28, South Gate, Scenic Spot. Let me look on my map. Oops, I want Google Maps. It's been pretty good lately, last couple days. See, Weicheng River, they're also saying. And the Zhetang River meet here. They say what this is. River. Not really. Chang River here, and this is Jiangsu River. So, I think the Grand Canal where they could see, this is the historic area, whoops, of Suzhou, the ancient city. Now there's, Greater Suzhou, but you can see it was set up kind of like the imperial city in Beijing, with the palace at the center, and then kind of forked streets running around it. But that's the winch that they could drop a floodgate essentially through the and then they could rain down fire upon you here if you tried to come through by boat with your marines. This is kind of cool. Secret passageway down to the water. Either maybe an escape hatch if they needed to abandon ship, or maybe for a person who is taxing people to come back up and down from shifts and stuff, bring up the money that they would be taking for taxes to come in and out, collecting tariffs, I guess, maybe, I don't know. They actually had double ones here. They could drop another one. It said they removed these though when they restored it, that they removed the actual gates. I think they restored it, did it say in the 90s? Or 2000? The Pagoda was restored recently, but it had a sign on it that it was closed. That was really disappointing. I yesterday did the Six Harmonies Pagoda on the Chaintong River in Huzhou, in Hangzhou. And so I was looking forward to doing this one too, overlooking the Suzhou's river of the Chang. But well. And they have some weaponry here. You can actually climb higher in the tower, but they've got some ridiculous schedule that it's only open for like 10 minutes 4 times a day. Isn't that weird? Take a picture of that if I want to look at it later and try to do it. Anyway, there's the temple. There's some story about one of the generals, governors who became king and had to commit suicide. It was like almost the same story as UFI's, I read this, Wang Gate takes its name from a wang, a type of narrow-mouthed, deep-bellied Chinese jar. Like the jar, the gate's entrance is small, whereas its interior is large. The 2 doors on the land side open in opposite directions. Within there is a winding passageway leading to a large interior in the form of a square with a side of 20 meters. The walls surrounding the city gate are very steep. If enemies are lured to the inside, their line of retreat can be cut off. Unlike a turtle in a jar, they can be easily annihilated. The Wang City Gate was built by Jiang Shicheng at the end of the Yuan dynasty. So this only goes back to Yuan 1200s. It was later renovated by the Ming and Qing dynasties, but its original shape and form are still preserved. I thought it went all the way back to the Wu. The story they were telling in the temple next door goes back that early, but obviously the gate here does not. The temple there was talking about the king of the Wu, and he had to commit suicide, and then he was exonerated afterwards. And I thought, oh, there's a pattern here in China. They decide that general's getting a little too dangerous. We'll give him a choice. He has to commit suicide, or else we'll sell his family into slavery and declare him an enemy, and I'll have all my other generals go to war with him and maybe defeat him, probably defeat him. So to avoid that, he'll just have to kill himself. And then when he does that, we exonerate him and clear his name. So he'll be willing to do it because then he knows, oh, well, at least I'm an old man anyway and my name will be cleared. So it's a good way to, a win-win situation for everyone, right? I don't know if actually that's... But reading between the lines of history, you see that happening. You go, either the story has been repeated because it's made up, or they're doing it for that reason. So you can exit out there. That's the south exit from the PanMen Scenic area. But I wanted to walk through a little bit more. I have to head in this direction anyway to go home, so you can go down the steps here at the far end of the city wall, and I can still hear people ringing the bell. I was angry because I couldn't go up in the pagoda, so for 6 yen they let you ring the bell, and I rang it. I rang it really hard. Everything should be closing up about now anyway. It's going on 5 o'clock. Oh, I'm gonna go get a drink at the Bookworm.